Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am the Nightwalker, and I don't know if a lot of you remember or not, but back in, I believe it was October, I did a video where I talked about 10 of my favorite, like, you know, lighthearted horror films and, TV specials and things I like to watch around Halloween time. And every once in a while, I get the urge. I just decide I want to make a top 10 video. And I thought I'd go ahead and do another one just for fun, shits and giggles. And yeah, I think today I'm going to talk about 10 of my all time favorite horror TV series. This was hard. This was really hard to do because I have a lot of TV shows that I absolutely love and adore. And yeah, and it's like, especially all the horror shows out there now and stuff. And yeah, I got to be honest, man, it's really tough. Let's see here. I like to first of all, I'd like to make an honorable mention. I'd like to mention Stand Against Evil. That show is fantastic. I just hated the last episode. The 3 seasons of that show were amazing. And if you haven't seen it, if you got Hulu, get on Hulu and watch Stand Against Evil. That show is it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun, dark humor. It's a great show. And another honorable mention. I don't know if anybody remembers this show or not, but there's a TV show I really loved. And unfortunately, it didn't last long. And that show was Brimstone. And it starred Peter Horton from Children of the Corn and John Glover. And the story was about Peter Horton was a cop who he murdered the guy who raped his wife. And then a short time later, he was killed, but he hadn't repented for his sins before he died. So his character goes to hell. So he ends up making a deal with the devil that he comes back to Earth, and I believe it was 122. I could be wrong about the exact number, but it was like there was like 122 of the worst, most evil, vile, souls had escaped from hell, and it was his. He made a deal with the devil that if he could get these souls and return them back to hell, that one day he would earn his redemption. And like I said, unfortunately, it didn't go beyond 1 season, but it was a really good show. Very well done. Had Lori Petty in it. Had Curtis Armstrong from Revenge of the Nerds. But yeah, it was a great show. Let's see here. Now that it's just starting What We Do in the Shadows, I just watched season 1 of that. That show is amazing. And I hope it goes on for a very long time. And what's like another one? Oh yeah, Dexter. Dexter's another show. So those are some honorable mentions that I'd like to mention. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and start with, and we're going to go ahead, and we'll go ahead, and we'll go ahead. Anyway, we're going to start with number 10, and I know this is probably going to upset a lot of people. Now, understand something, okay? You understand this is just my opinion, right? This is not the end all, be all, perfect, top 10 list of horror. This is just my top 10 list of horror shows or horror themed shows that I find fun and entertaining to watch. So that's pretty much what this is all about. So number 10, we're going to have The Walking Dead. And the reason why I put it at number 10 and it's not ranked higher is just this is a show that it started off strong, and in the first few seasons it did pretty well. But just in my opinion, it just seemed like the longer that the show went on, just the more it just kind of drug out, and it starts to feel repetitive after a while. It's like, they go through this situation where they got to deal with this, this adversary. Like at one point it's, the governor, then at one point it's Negan. And now, for God's sake, because just about everybody else from the start of the series, from the first few seasons, now pretty much just about everybody's gone. So now it's pretty much the Negan show. And it's kind of hard, I'm sorry, just for me personally, Negan is just not one of my favorite characters. Okay, I'm not bashing anybody, but when this show it started off really strong, and I was a huge fan of it. But just over time, I just kind of got to where I just couldn't dig it anymore. And Fear the Walking Dead was another show too. I mean, I got seasons 1 through 3 of that, and that was another series. I thought it started off pretty strong, and it was different from this one in the sense it was different in terms of characters, different in terms of setting, storyline, everything else. And that's what I liked about it. It wasn't just this all over again, but over time, just another one. It just started to lose something. So yeah, I would have to say probably number 10 on my list would be The Walking Dead. So anyway, now let's get to number 9. Okay, and I would have to say for number 9 on my list, I got the whole batch of them up there. Unfortunately, it's a series that only lasted 2 seasons on Showtime, and then they tried to do a third season of it on regular TV, but they retitled it Fear Itself, and that show is Masters of Horror. Um, that was a great series, and the reason why you say, well, if it's so great, why'd you put it at number 9? Because unfortunately, it stopped too soon. There was so much more they could have done with that show, and so many people got left out of that series. And I know that's not the fault of Mick Garris, the creator of the show, or anybody else. Just unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. But oh yeah, just it's really really sad that such a wonderful show, and you were getting the best of the best as far as like horror film directors were concerned. You had Dario Argento, you had John Carpenter, you had Toby Hooper, you had John Landis, Joe Dante, all that kind of stuff. And it would have been great if they could have continued on with that. It would have been great if they could have gotten Stephen King involved. I mean, think about it. How funny is it? You got a series called Masters of Horror, and Stephen King's not on there. So I'm sure some people will be like, it doesn't bother me, but you know what I mean. But also too, what was also great about that show was not only were they taking, the veteran horror directors, like Carpenter and Toby Hooper and Joe Dante and all that stuff. Not only them, but also too, they were trying to bring in like some of these up and comers. So it's like, maybe I don't know. He's probably such a big director now. He probably never do it, but I don't know. Maybe like James Wan, could have done an episode. That would have been cool. Um, I know this is probably gonna piss a lot of people off, but maybe like Kevin Smith could have done an episode. I mean, he's dipped his toes into the horror pond. Maybe Eli Roth, Rob Zombie. You get what I'm saying. It's like so many other people. Mike Flanagan would have been great to see him do an episode. So especially he's here in terms of horror movies here lately. On Mike Flanagan, he's been knocking it out of the ballpark. But yeah, so that's why I put that at number 9, just because it's just a show I really would have liked to have seen continue on and do better and things like that. So yeah, so I'd probably have to put that at number 9 would probably be that'd be it, Masters of Horror. And so number 8, it kind of bugs me. This is hard because I'm trying to figure out the best way to put these. So forgive me for putting this at number 8, but I have a feeling after I get done with this video, I'm going to regret the order that I put a lot of these in. But at number 8, we got The Twilight Zone. I love this show. It's a fantastic show. It's one of the best. Of course, hold it up, hold it the right way, dipshit. But anyway, I think it's easily one of the best horror sci-fi TV series ever. And they got some really, really good episodes on here. And just, oh man. I mean, it's just classic. And like I said, I'm going to probably regret that I put this, at number 8 instead of putting it up higher on the list. But anyway, so yeah. Oh God. I can't say enough good things about it. You got some great, talent on this show. You got, in front of the camera, behind the camera, you had Dennis Hopper, you had William Shatner, you had, oh my God, Claude Akins. I mean, you had so many, Dean Stockwell, you had so many great actors and actresses on the show. And, the writers, Rod Serling was a great storyteller. And, you also, Ray Bradbury wrote for the show. So did, who else? Richard Matheson, the late great Richard Matheson, wrote some of the best stories ever, like I Am Legend and Duel. He wrote for the series. Ray Bradbury, Charles Beaumont, so many, So yeah, this is a great series and one of the best TV anthologies ever. And like I said, I'm probably going to regret the fact that I put this, at number 8. I'm probably going to be like later, I really should have put that higher. So anyway, so that's number 8. Okay, and so for number 7, we're going to go with, again, I'm probably going to regret the way I place these in order, but for number 7, we're going to go with A Haunting. And I know there's like a zillion and one ghost shows that are on TV nowadays, but A Haunting to me is absolutely one of the best just one of the absolute best series about ghosts ever. I'm not a fan of like the stuff like Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, where it's just people, talking about, yeah, I'm gonna go into this, I'm gonna go into this building and I got my, meters and all that stuff, and I'm just gonna go in and, just sit there, hey ghost, come on out and kick my ass and stuff like that. Just I'm not into that stuff. And then the whole episode is just, did you hear that? What's that? Did you hear that? What's that? Did you hear that? What's that? What's that? I'm not into that. And I know people will be like, well, dude, all that is just people telling stories about, they were supposed to have been haunted and stuff like that. I know, but, this one here, it's like the way the show is done, the way it's, put together. And this, I know it's just reenactments, but man, some of these episodes are pretty chilling. And I have to admit, they kind of, when I first watched this series, I admit I was watching it in the dark alone by myself, and some of these stories actually kind of got to me. I thought they were kind of genuinely creepy. So anyway, so yeah, that's gonna be my number 7 spot. So yeah, okay. So I'm trying to keep it in order here. Okay, 10 was Walking Dead, 9 was Masters of Horror, 8 was Twilight Zone, and 7 was A Haunting. Okay, so now we're getting to number 6. All right, so let's see here. Number 6, 1 second. Okay, it took me a second to gather my thoughts, but for number 6, I know this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. We got another zombie show, but yeah, I got to go with this one. My number 6 there is iZombie. And now I'm going to be honest with you. When this show first came out, I really had no desire to see this show at all. I just, I was just sitting there thinking like, this show isn't going to be for me. It's not going to be my style. It's not going to be anything I'm going to be interested in. And so I avoided it for quite a while. And then finally, one time, I just like, you know what? I'm just kind of curious. What is this thing anyway? So I sat and watched an episode of it, and I was hooked immediately. And I love it. And I'm sad that the show is now over. It went for 5 seasons, and I have seasons 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray. I would love for there to be season 4 and 5 come out on Blu-ray, so I could get those as well, because I want to have the entire series. But this show is fantastic. I mean, I really didn't think I was going to like it at all. Also, too, you got some of the best characters are on this show. You got the stories about Liv Moore, who she's this very bright, very beautiful, on her way to success as a doctor and things like that. She's going to med school and everything else. And she's, engaged to this, really handsome guy named Major. And it seems like she's got her whole life before her. Well, she goes to a party, she gets infected, and she becomes a zombie. And she's trying to deal with the turmoil of being a zombie. She's trying to deal with all the problems in her life. And so she ends up basically pushing her family away. And over time, she's trying to reconnect with them and trying to make amends. And it's her and Ravi, who's she works in a morgue now. And Ravi, he finds out that she's a zombie, and he's like trying to work to see if he could make a cure that could help cure her of this. But in the meanwhile, she ends up teaming up with a detective named Clive Babineau, and the two of them go out and they solve mysteries, crimes, murders, things like that. And the way they do it is so funny, because what ends up happening is, this is one of those, you see her, she's got the brains in her hand, right? Well, this is one of those zombie series where she has to eat brains to survive as a zombie, but there's a side effect. And this is what really drew me into it. This is what got me into it. The side effect being that every time she eats the brains of someone that she kills, she ends up taking on their personality. So it's like, so one week she's like a airhead cheerleader, the next week she's a hard ass military guy, or the next week she's a basement dwelling computer nerd. So it's almost like every episode she's almost a different character in almost every episode, and you got a lot of very good black comedy in this. You do get some good horror elements in this. The show is actually developed by Rob Thomas, of all people. Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. And there's even a joke that he gets eaten by zombies in the show. So, sorry, I gave away something of a spoiler. But anyway, though. Yeah, but, I know a lot of people probably wouldn't include this one in their top 10. But yeah, this one has to go in. So, for number 6, I'm going to have to go with iZombie. This show is a lot of fun. And this is definitely a comfort show for me. I just put it on. I love black comedy shows. And so yeah, now we're going back to the black comedy, and you'll see why. Because next we have my number five pick is going to be Lucifer. Lucifer. Yeah, I really love this show. I'm glad that now it's on. I'm glad that it's on Netflix, but unfortunately, like they're saying, this season is going to be the last, and it's another case of horror elements mixing in with detective story because now we got Lucifer. The story concerns him coming out of hell, and he comes with his demon companion Maze, and they come to L.A. basically because he's tired of ruling hell, and he wants to get away from it. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do that. He's he's basically like, of course, he's relenting against his father, God, and stuff, and it's just so much fun. It's so funny. He's got you got a great group of characters here. You got Amenadiel, who is his angel brother, who oh man, definitely one of the best. I say him and Clyde Babineau are two of my all-time favorite African American characters on the TV series. Yeah, Amenadiel, he is awesome. Yeah, I would say Dan is probably like my least favorite out of this bunch, but Dr. Linda, she's great. Love her. The thing that's funny is like Lucifer goes to her for therapy and stuff. And then the funny part is no matter whatever she tells him, he always takes it completely the wrong way. So it's like, you'd think she would learn by now, after all these seasons, you'd think she would just learn, reverse psychology. Just tell him, because he always does the opposite of what she tells him. So you would think, she would just tell him, okay, I need him to do this. So I just tell him to do that. Then he'll turn around and do this. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Maze, one of the best kick-ass female characters on a show in a long time. It's like, beautiful, sexy, lethal. What's not to love? And easily one of the best, right up there with Liv Moore, is one of my all-time favorite female leads on a TV series is Chloe Decker, played by Lauren German there. And a lot of people are going to remember Lauren German from like Hostel Part 2, or they're going to remember her as the hitchhiker girl from the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And but I mean, Lauren German, she is absolutely a delight to watch on the show. I can't say enough praise about the woman. I mean, not only is she incredibly, stunningly drop dead beautiful, but just as a character, she's just the best. Like, oh man, this is one of the best female leads I've ever seen on a show. Like I said, right up there with Liv Moore. So yeah, so I do love me some Lucifer. So that's going to be my number 5 pick. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll get to number 4 if I can get them over here. Number 4, this one here is, I know it's going to be problematic for some, but still, I love this series. And yeah, I got to go ahead and include it. And that is American Horror Story. I love American Horror Story. I just finished watching season 9, 1984, and I loved it. I love, that this is a show, I have to admit, when I first heard about it, it was coming on, I heard, oh, it's a show that's like, it's a show that's like, oh, it's kind of like Scream, but it's from the makers of Glee, and that didn't really sell me on wanting to watch this thing. It really didn't. But anyway, though, no, I manned up and I sat down and started watching it, and I was surprised. I was surprised how much this pays tribute to horror, how much it loves horror and respects the genre. And so, yeah, I was a little late to the party, but yeah, as you can see, I do love me some American Horror Story. So I love these, and as soon as, like I said, I just watched 1984. That season was fantastic. God, that was good. I know a lot of people are like, "Ew, that show sucks too," but yeah, I love this show, and I can't wait. As soon as 1984 comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, I'm buying that too. So anyway, yeah, that's going to be my number 4 pick. I love the fact too that every season is a different story, and I admit there are a couple of them that I didn't like as well as others. I mean, let's see here. I'd have to say my 2 least favorite would have to be Asylum and Freak Show. Asylum, I just didn't care for. I know a lot of people probably, what, you didn't like Asylum? It just wasn't my favorite. Just the whole alien abduction thing and all that stuff. It didn't do it for me or something. I don't know. But Freak Show wasn't one of my favorite. But I do like, I like Hotel. And, I thought Lady Gaga was actually pretty good on there. It's great when Jessica Lange always comes back. You got a great cast on there. Sarah Paulson, always great to see her. Evan Peters, always great to see him. Kathy Bates, Angela Bassett. So on and so forth. Oh, one of my big time TV show crushes, Lily Rabe. She's on that show. Oh, Lily Rabe. Yeah. Oh, makes my heart go flutter. Anyway, but yeah, she's one of my all time favorites on there. But yeah, I would have to say probably about number four. I would put that. Yeah. So anyway, now moving on to number three. Unfortunately, I don't have the DVD with me right at the moment, but I'm gonna have to go with the Adams, or not the Adams, the Munsters. Um, the Munsters. I always loved that show. I always thought it was fantastic. Such great black comedy, and just the actors and actresses on there. Yvonne DiCarlo and Pat Priest. They were always fantastic on there. Fred Gwynn and Al Lewis. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better comedy duo on that show. Um, Everything on that show was just, it was a perfect blend. Everything on that show just worked. Um, as you can tell now, it's a product of its time, but still, and that's the thing. People have tried so many times over the years to try to duplicate it and things like that, and or remake it. And that's the thing. I mean, they did remake Adam's Family with the Raul Julia, Angelica Houston movies and stuff, and those were good. That was actually a case of doing it well. Whereas, like, every time they kept trying to redo the Munsters, they could never get it. They tried it so many times. They even did a TV series, Mockingbird Lane, where you had Eddie Izzard playing the grandpa, and as Jerry O'Connell playing Herman. And oh, God, it just seemed like everything they were doing was just making it worse. This is just one of those shows, like, you can't beat it. The original is, you're not going to do any better. You just leave it alone. So, but anyway, yeah. So my number three pick would have to be I keep saying the Munsters. Well, since I keep talking about the Munsters, may as well. No, I did it again. Oh my God. Oh man, help me out here. Oh, anyway, since I keep talking about the Addams Family, again, my TV family is mixed up. Let's go ahead and talk about my number two favorite, which is the Addams Family. Oh man, I love this. I love this show. Right back when I first started my channel, I talked about how much I love this show and how this show holds such a special place in my heart. And oh man, it's great. You got perfect cast on there. You got John Aston and oh man, oh, I can't believe I forgot her name. Who played Morticia? I am such an ass. I can't remember the name of the actress who played Morticia. But John Aston. You got uh, Carolyn Adams. I think it was, wasn't it? Carolyn Adams. I think. Oh my God. Yeah, your number two favorite TV show. You can't even remember the name of the actors on it, dickwad. Anyway, so sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, just I love the Addams Family. It is my number two favorite TV show. I love the black humor is just so I love it so much. It's just like my humor. And seriously, like hanging around me is like hanging around one of the members of the Addams Family. So oh yeah. Carolyn Jones, that's who played Morticia. Oh my God. Oh man. I think I need to go to bed or something. And but anyway though, yeah, great show. I love it to death. I love the characters. Oh man, they did a great deal with this show. It was wonderful. If you love the movies but you never seen the TV show, don't let the black and white scare you off. The show is really fantastic. It's really good. It's a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, that would have to be my number two favorite. And getting ready to go to my number one favorite, I'd like to mention a couple more mentionable or honorable mentions of shows. I'd like to talk about Monsters. That was a great show. Tales from the Dark Side. That was another great show. Um, let's see here. Night Gallery. That was a wonderful show. Some other ones. Z Nation was okay. I have to admit, I never got too into that. A lot of the, like I said, a lot of the vampire shows I couldn't get into, like Vampire Diaries, things like that. I can't get into those, but anyway. But What We Do in the Shadows, I love that one. But anyway, so time for numero uno, and anybody knows me knows, yeah, this is going to be a real surprise. But my number one favorite horror show is Tales from the Crypt. I love this show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, and yeah, just some of the best storytelling. You got some of the best filmmakers. So yeah, I love this show. I bought this thing twice. I'm not even kidding. I got 2 copies of this. That's how much I love the show. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be my number one. So anyway, that's I think I kind of ran just about long enough. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. And I understand if your top 10 horror related shows don't, coincide with mine, but this is just my opinion. I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but I just thought it'd be fun to do a top 10 list just for the heck of it. So if anybody took the time to watch it, thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And, you know, yeah, hopefully everybody will like this. I'll start doing more of these just for fun. So see you guys later. Bye bye.